probably start. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions, and obviously I haven't been available for like a week or so. So, first of all, I know what you guys are going to ask, and I did think it was a flagrant foul, and our reffing just needs to be better. And it's tough. Obviously, the refs are in a really difficult spot. It's one of the hardest jobs in the world, in my opinion, is to make calls. All you do is get yelled at the whole time by everybody. You're never winning. So I think for us, as the league's just got to do better protecting our players in that regard. I don't really think that it was up for debate. Obviously, it wasn't called in real time. You go back and watch the clip. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of been a discussion for like 3 years now, and I think we really need to do a better job protecting the people in this league. And, obviously I've been involved in a few of those plays, but there's been plenty others across the league that, haven't got called, go back in post-game or whatever it is. Teams commit clips, nothing really changes. So I think overall the league just has to do better, and we have to invest in those areas. The technology can get better. We can treat the referees a little bit better, pay them like they're full-time employees. I think things like that. And, I think a lot has obviously come after that. And as I've stood up here and said before, like the harassment, the hate, none of that is okay. That goes for the opposing team we play. That goes for my teammates. That goes for my coaches. There should never be a question of character. Like I've always stood up here and said that, and that's truly what I believe. That's how I was raised. So, none of that is okay, and I don't want anybody to ever experience that. I think it can be really frustrating to me at times, and I think it's difficult. I think a lot of people sometimes think I'm a robot. I'm not a robot. I have emotions. I have feelings, and it can be really difficult to go through a lot of that. And, I'm 24 years old trying to navigate a lot, and I think at times I've been in this world for 4 years now, and you would never change any of it. But there are times that it is hard, and there are times that, it probably affects me a little bit more than I do put on. And, I would never change any of that for the world. But I think it's important that people do remember that part of it too. So, at the same time, it's really interesting to me because, even I turned the TV on Sunday, and that game was on Wednesday, and that's all people are still talking about. And I feel like that's just a real disservice to our league. And I get it. You talk about it. You talk about whether it's flagrant. You talk about whatever it is. But to continue to beat down, and then for the narrative to be taken other places that is really just that's just really not acceptable, I think it's hard to see, and it's a disservice to my team, but it's also a disservice to the other teams in this league and the other players in this league. There's so much amazing talent, and there's so many amazing players that are playing at an incredibly high rate. And I remember, I think it was Sunday or Saturday, whatever day that was. I remember watching them discuss it on TV, and I didn't know they were going to discuss it. I was just watching the other games because I try to watch as much as I can, and I honestly felt bad for the players that were playing in the games those days. And also I felt bad for my teammates. They played on Friday, and they dominated, and they played really well, and nobody wanted to talk about that. They were just worried about everything else. So, and there had been, I think 10 plus other games that had already happened to that point. So, I think it's all of our jobs to help refocus the narratives a lot of the times, and we can do better at that. And I think it'll help our game grow a lot more. And that goes for obviously the fever and whatever. But at the same time, you guys are here in this arena every time we play. And the amount of people that are passionate and love the game and respect the other team, and the young girls and the young boys that show up, we can't lose sight of that. And that's whether we're here at home and whether we're on the road. And, there's a lot of really, really great people that, love this league and love our organization. And, I'm thankful to be here in an organization that has my back and will always stand up for me. And, I think we can't ever lose sight of that. The joy and the fire and the fun, that's why you play this game. And I think it kind of goes back to a little bit of my frustration. I remember seeing a headline and I don't remember who wrote this, and I try to stay away from social media as much as I can, but sometimes it can be hard. I need to be aware of certain things, and obviously my team makes me aware of certain things. And it was the headline read this season has been everything but fun, and they're just full of frustration for Clark and the Fever. And I'm no one ever asked me that. Nobody ever asked me that. That's wrong. Discuss my play. Discuss if I played bad. Discuss if I played good. Discuss our play. And at times I understand there's other things that need to be talked about. Great, whatever. But let's continue to move on and, things like that. And but I think just focusing on the joy and the amazing parts of this game, like I said, I think it's sometimes a disservice to not only our team but to everybody else. And, let's get back to a lot more smiling and positivity. I think our world could use a lot of that. And then moving on, I know everybody's going to ask about my health. I will be out Sunday, but I'm feeling a lot better, excited to get back into practice today, and then feeling really, really positive about getting back into one of the games at the back-to-back. Obviously, difficult coming back in a back-to-back, so we'll have to be cautious of that, but I feel a lot better, and like I said, excited to get back into practice, and this week has been very helpful for my overall health. So other than that, if you guys have any questions, I know I kind of just ranted for a while, but